Good morning, everybody. This is Jens Larson and Ken Long with an introduction to our protreptic home study course, sponsored and directed by Jens, supported by me as the monkey who's trying to learn. So, like all good projects, we are recording this introduction after we've done all the other work because Jens properly taught me that a good protreptic session is well prepared, but a little unplanned in order to allow the conversation and the focus and the journey to be real, in the moment, and authentic. It doesn't follow a precise script, because if it did, then we wouldn't even have to have the meeting. So this introduction is now filmed after we have been through our 6 sessions examining the history of protreptic in the world, the modern update of it through the genius of the great Danish philosopher Ole Fogh Kirkeby, supported ably by Jens. And I'm going to invite Jens to get us started with just a kind of a quick review and his overall impression of the places that we've been in our home study course. So I want to welcome my good friend Jens Larson and toss the microphone over to you. And I'm always delighted to see you. So how are you doing this morning? Over.
Thank you, Ken. I'm doing well, and it's always good to see you. I'm here in Copenhagen, Denmark, Scandinavia. And we have had 6 sessions about the protreptic. Some really good conversations, I think. I have been so inspired after each of them. So I will go back and see them again. We have been talking about, as you said, the history behind why is this protreptic so important in organizations and for people right now. We have shared thoughts about how to use it. We have shared, I think, 4 tools. We have shared how you can use it as one-to-one coaching. We have shared how you can use it inside an organization, working with teams, and how it can help people, teams, organization act from ethics and from values instead of like feelings and trends and etc.
Yeah.
But I want to share a short story why I'm here with you, Ken. Back in 2000, I think around 5, I was a part of a consulting team here in Copenhagen, Denmark, where we worked with the Danish professor at Copenhagen Business School and philosopher Ole Fogh Kirkeby, and he was the first one, I think, in modern time who discovered this concept of protreptic coaching, which has his history all the way back to the ancient Greek, Aristotle, Plato, and Ole, he discovered it at that time, and we wrote a book together, him and me, and 2 others of our partners in the group. So this book behind you is actually the first book who has this name, Protreptic, and it's in Danish. So the under, I don't know, header or under headline is philosophical coaching in leadership. And so that was actually the first book. And since then, it came out in 2008. I have been using the Protreptic in dialogue with leaders, with team, helping people how to create balance through their own values and the values of the organizations, but also help leaders how to lead through others, almost by implementing values in the organization. So it has been a great journey, and I both use it in my professional life and I use it in my own private life to act from values instead of feelings all the time. So it's also a way to prevent you from stress, I think.
Yeah, I like the treatment of both values and feelings in the sessions that we did. I think it should be understood that to say that we want to live from values rather than feelings is not to disrespect feelings. Feelings are one of the most powerful and present ways to know you're alive and to feel in the moment if you are aligned with the world around you and your own inner world. As a I don't want to say creator, I'm not that good, but as a producer of things, writings and art and athletics and in leadership with small groups, there are times when I am aligned with my values of what I'm trying to do, and I'm doing it well, and the feelings reinforce the quality of the experience. So that's a confirming that, yes, this is going well. So I want to share, my understanding of the values and feelings, which is to say that feelings are respected, but for what they are. And values, I think, emerged for me in our course, in our discussions, as the bedrock around which feelings can rotate. And we can recognize the feelings, acknowledge them, but at the same time remain focused on the central purpose of the inquiry, which is to really uncover the deep values, the enduring values, and to make those decisions on that basis for the long journey of life. I mean, feelings come and go, and we know from the Stoics and from the Buddhists and from every culture that there are things that change and things that don't change, and the values feel like they are aligned with those unchanging qualities and standards that we want to support. So I wanted to say that became clear to me in our discussions, that the values are not, feelings are not to be discarded, but they're to be placed in a proper alignment with the core values. If anything in our lives, especially in the modern life, with so much digital bombardment, so much input that are appealing to our feelings, advertising, marketing, political messaging, very, very refined with the algorithms that help us find out what's working with mass populations. All of those communications are being scientifically refined to invite us to act from feelings now more than ever. And there's usually a commercial reason to do that, but sometimes it's simply persuasion. So I found it fascinating to see how the protreptic from the ancient Greek, which was, developed by the same guys that develop rhetoric, as to examine our communication and our dialogue to see how that can be used to shape our lives. That was a fascinating journey for me, particularly since you and I came into contact through the True Storytelling Institute, in which we were examining how storytelling with truth is a powerful way to shape our experience and to chart our path. And that led me to discover protreptic through you. And I'm very grateful for that opportunity. So that's what I wanted to say about feelings and values. I also really liked what you said about going back to review the other sessions. That's the other thing that I learned from you, among other things. Another big lesson was the idea that the protreptic session, while it may come to a close in that moment, the real work, the continued work, is always ongoing. And so to understand protreptic is to understand that you are going to view your values and then review your values in the same way that we're going to go back and review our other sessions to discover all of the gold that's in there. Protreptic, when it's happening correctly, feels like it's so fast and so fluid and so alive that you have to get it all out, let it circulate in your head in that safe space, and then go back and continue to go deeper and to each thread that emerges. And so there is a continuity that I really resonated with, that there is deep work, but it's also immediate work, and there's more to do, and it's part of a continuation of a lifestyle now. And I think that's an important insight that I got from you. What are your thoughts on that?
And yeah, and Ken, just to share a little bit of my life, I think, as you know, I'm one of the co-founders of the True Storytelling Institute, and I've written 8-9 books about storytelling, ethics, coaching, and I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm involved in different startups. A spaceport startup here in Denmark, actually the first one we are working on, and NGOs working with the SDGs, the global goals, and different others startups. So for me, how I use the protreptic is actually, as you also said right now, to actually to be able to stand inside a world which from the outsiders can seem very complex, but actually if you have these values implemented into use, then you can actually stand in the eye of the hurricane somehow and deal with these things. Of course, sometimes we all can get stressed, but for me they are kind of tuning forks. They are kind of a compass, so I can deal with the startup NGOs, writing books, doing all kind of things, and hopefully still be a good friend and good dad and husband.
Well, that's it's interesting you say that, because even as we were doing the lessons and recording our sessions and going on, preparing for the next weekly topic, I was already each week taking insights from each session and using them in my military classroom, in my the doctoral programs that I'm teaching in for educational leaders, inside the small community soccer organization, a volunteer organization trying to create opportunities for kids to play, but also to learn to be leaders with their peers. In my professional capacity as a consultant to international money managers who are trying to protect people's retirements and live responsibly with people's life savings. I found I'm already getting feedback from people that are reviewing our work and talking about it and already applying it. So there is that living story quality to Protreptic that I am noticing that resonates with people from many different walks of life and many different perspectives that are looking to connect to deep meaning in their lives and in their work. And there's something about the timeless wisdom of this material that really works. So I want to gently conclude and talk about the places that we go in this course. The first two sessions, and I'm going to say the first three sessions, because the very first thing we did was a detailed Protreptic session with me not knowing anything. And you guided me through that. And that really made me hungry to do this to another level of depth. So we have an hour-long Protreptic session where we discovered some things that I needed to talk about and focus on. Then the next two sessions became background and foundational material that helped us to explore and narrow that focus. And then the last three sessions, we began to converge on more of the techniques and the practical applications, where we looked at the 4 tools and the 3 lenses and the 6 principles of the event that allow us to ensure that every aspect of Protreptic is locked in and done properly. And then concluded with thoughts on how the Protreptic can be used in teams and organizations, not just one-on-one, although that was the kind of the first and most natural approach to become familiar with it. And then the final session where we examined the very special guidance, impact, feel of being a leader in an organization who wants to use Protreptic to help the organization refine or discover their values, and balancing the need to hear from all the people and have us all invested in the values discussions, and at the same time recognizing what is already there in the organization, the legacy, if there is one. In many ways, the easiest way to do it is to start on day one in an organization and live in a Protreptic way. But there's a lot of organizations that want to do this, who must engage with the stories that are there and then learn how through time to shape the future one Protreptic at a time, if I may say it that way. So I thought the 6th session was especially important for leaders of organizations to hear in order to fulfill their role as the leader of the current organization, but also to think about transforming the organization in the values-centric way. And I thought that one was a nice conclusion as the final challenge for leaders who want to use this in public. So I'm really excited about getting the lessons out there to add to the conversation in the modern world. I think they're conversations that need to happen, and to live those stories going forward. So any final thoughts before we pick up our shovels and start working some more?
Yeah, I just want to add that, inspired by our conversation, Ken, I will do a sheet with more good Protreptic questions that we can share, and
Yeah.
some a few more tools as a kind of a bonus. So
Yeah, that sounds good to me, my good friend.
yeah.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna, we can't let the people get into the course until we stop talking. So as much as I enjoy these sessions,
No,
I'm
no,
gonna
we are ready.
I'm gonna shut this off now before we talk some more, so that people can get on to
Yeah.
the other lessons. And
Yeah.
I just want to express my my thanks for your friendship and for your professionalism, but more for your friendship, because there's a lot more professionals in the world than there are friends. And so I really cherish your friends. And
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to many happy future engagements together. And let's just release the people to do the work, and promise that we'll be here to support in any way that they need. So thank you so much, my friend. And I will see you on the next hilltop.